Okay, everything in New Delhi is extreme. Okay, what's the query? Madam, this question is from workbook. Okay, answer given is 4. Okay. In all the 4 options, the sentence starts with but. Yes. So which means that the option should be contradicting the statement available before the blank. Yes. I have arrived till this, but got a doubt that why can't the option be 5? Because in option it is mentioned that faithful to their partners, which is opposite to AIDS carriers in the passage. So please explain why the answer is 4. Okay, super. This is a good question. In fact, this is a very good question. Let's look at this. Now, if you look at this context, right? Basically, the context is talking about, if I look at my topic sentence, it says, everything in New Delhi is extreme. Pay attention to this. Okay? Everything in New Delhi is extreme. And then the topic closing sentences, basically there are sentences talking about that. And then it says, this is Delhi for you. Okay, super. Now let's go back and see why it is 4 and not anything else, right? Let's read. So, Delhi being extreme, it is a city of the incredibly rich and the miserably poor. Okay. So, for the rich, so it expands on that. For the rich, there are expensive private schools, hospitals, concert halls, theatres, although fewer of those than formerly, and restaurants. What about the poor on the other hand? Hiding to nowhere, all public facilities, schools and hospital and housing are deteriorating. Okay, fine. So, this is one extreme. But then, there are some world-known social workers in it. So, they've brought out one particular aspect, which is the rich and the poor. The next aspect is, there are some world-known social workers, okay. But on the other hand, there are thousands of heroin addicts, equal number of carriers of the AIDS virus, okay. And then I need another sentence, right. So, this sentence starts with but, and then there are, so this but is contradicting what there was a, so let's look at this, okay. The first sentence is positive, the next sentence is negative, right. The next sentence is positive, but there are some world-known social workers. So, the rich is positive, obviously, poor is negative, but then there are some world-known social workers, again positive, but there are thousands of heroin addicts and equal number of carriers of the AIDS virus, negative. So, now I need a positive statement, right? Now, if I look at my options, option 1 says, but then there are thousands of people who are social workers, repetitive, out. But then some of rarest examples of humanity comes from the city, again, not very aligned with the context of what's happening, right? This seems like a very unrelated, unwanted sentence, out. But then there is a faith in the city. Again, it's not talking about extremes here, and we'll have to choose between 4 and 5 for the benefit of Yadav, because he's brought in 5, we'll add that in the calculation. But then there are people addicted to charity and altruism also. So here it's saying there are thousands of heroin addicts and an equal number of carriers of the AIDS virus. So on one side you have heroin addicts, again addicts being your clue word, and then it comes back and says here, but then there are people addicted to something good, which is what? Charity, and altruism means being selfless, putting others first. Right? So, looking at this, I am only looking at some clue words to kind of look at it. However, 5th also is positive, but then there are people who are totally against the drugs and faithful to their partners. So, for me, I am looking at everything in New Delhi is extreme, being they want to cover as many aspects as possible. So, when you are saying there are thousands of heroin addicts, it is understood that there will be some people who are against it as well. And likewise, in terms of AIDS, but both are referring to the same thing. So, in terms of extremes, I feel 4 is more effective, right? Just because of the fact of this word addicted. See, there are thousands of people, heroin addicts, but at the same time also, we also have people who are addicted to charity and altruism. So, in that context alone, I would go with 4, just in line with the syntax of the context. Right? When I say syntax, I'm talking about positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. And though 5th also seems like is a positive statement, I'm just going with 4 because in terms of, you'll have these, I don't know if you can follow what I'm saying, in terms of rhyme and rigor, I would go with 4, option 4. I'm just looking at, I'm tendency to kind of spot certain words which go in line with the context. So, I would close with 4 being the much effective context. And this is Delhi for you. So if you come back and tell me, hey, there are thousands of heroin addicts, I'm saying, but there are also people addicted to charity and altruism also, right? In terms of just rhyme and rigor, I will go with 4. If you ask me, there are thousands of heroin addicts and an equal number of carriers of the AIDS virus. It's talking about the same thing, but since we want to bring in a lot more aspect about Delhi, right? And that's the only reason I want to go with 4. That's about it. In fact, 5 also is very close to the context. If you look at it, there are thousands of heroin addicts. And then it's also saying, but there are people who are totally against drugs. At the same time, then it says equal number of carriers of the AIDS virus. But then it also says, hey, but on the other hand, there are people faithful to their partners also. So 5 is in fact very much in sync with the context. But the reason why I am choosing 4 is only for, what's the right word to say it? Like I said, rhyme and rigor, I'm going with that. And I'm following, looking at the clue word addict, I'm going with 4. That's all I'm saying. And it's just expanding more on, charity and altruism, which is again covered in social workers. But then just to be a little more, adding a little more variety. That's about it. Yeah.